Hi, welcome to our daily encounter. Today we're going to be looking at life from a different perspective. And this all is drawn from Deuteronomy chapter 6, and where he warns the Israelites not to forget God in verse 12. And this is based off of what he had previously said in verses 10 and 11, where he talks about the fact that they would go in a land that was sworn to their fathers to give them, great and splendid cities which they didn't build, houses full of all good things which you did not fill, hewn cisterns which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant, and you eat and are satisfied. He talks about how dangerous it is to be satisfied in this world. And that's really what so much of us are striving for in this life, right? That's why we cling so tightly to our money, or we cling so tightly to our jobs, and we're always so focused on moving up in the world and becoming more and more successful so that we can somehow try to be satisfied with the things around us. And usually we think, well, if a person has a satisfied life, that's a good thing. We all want that type of life, and when someone has that life, we say, hey, that guy's really got something going for him. He's living the American dream. And we typically see that as a good thing. And in a sense, that is a good thing. It's a blessing from the Lord to have the things in life that you need and to be satisfied. But what Deuteronomy 6 teaches us is that is also, at least spiritually speaking, a very dangerous time. It's a time in which you could forget your God. He said after all that happened, be careful, or watch yourself, that you do not forget the God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. And that is a very real danger. When we become satisfied with the things of this world, when life is good, when we're in good health, our family's in good health, life is going on, we're going through the routine of life, everything's good, there is this tendency to forget God and to kind of push him to the side and think, well, and we may not actually verbalize this, but we act as though we don't really need God right now. Our life's going good. We don't need him coming into the picture just now. But then whenever hard times come, then we start longing for him and then trying to find God. And the Lord here through Moses is showing a reality that when we become satisfied, a lot of times we push God out because we become self-sufficient, or at least we think that we are self-sufficient. I have enough money in my bank account. I have a good job. I'm good to go. I pretty much have control of things. And that's a very dangerous place to be spiritually. Well, how can we avoid that pitfall? How is it that we can live a life satisfied, have money in the bank, and have our careers going for us, and yet still not forget God? Well, you have to look at the verses previous to those verses, where he talks about in verse 5, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. That's the ultimate goal in life, is to love God with all that you have. This is the first commandment, the best commandment out of all the commandments we've read in our reading today. This is the one that Jesus put on the top. But the way that we do that and the way that we keep God in our minds is by contacting his word and letting his word enter into our hearts. As you continue to read, it says, these words which I am commanding you today shall be on your heart. That's the most important place for God's word to be, on the heart. He goes on to say, you shall teach them diligently to your sons and talk of them when you sit in your house and lay down and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Notice how it starts with the heart, and then it works out towards teaching others, and then it works out to being on your doorposts and things along those lines. Many times, though, we have it the other way around. We have God's word all over us, all around us. We have God's word perhaps hanging on our walls. Maybe we have bumper stickers with God's word on it. And that's pretty much the only place where God's word stays. On the bookcase, or on the nightstand. And we have we're surrounded by God's word, but God's word never gets inside of us. It never gets into our hearts. And that's where it belongs. And when we can get God's word to penetrate past all the superficial, past all the outward show, and it gets really deep down into the root of who we are, that's when God's word has its true effect on us. And that's where it will prevent us from forgetting God in the good times. Even in the good times, we can have God's word all around us, but we might forget that it's supposed to really be in our hearts. And then when it's in our hearts, then it can more easily come out and be shared with others. You can't give someone something that you do not have. And so if you have it on your heart, you'll be able to teach it to others. You'll be able to speak about it when you're walking on the way, when you're lying down, and when you're sitting down. That's the key. So I'm sure many of us who are watching this video today are in the good times right now. Life is good for you. You're in good health. Financially, you're good. Perhaps all your relationships are going well. Well, don't let that be a danger for you spiritually. Don't let it be a time in which you become self-sufficient and begin to drift away from God. Get into His Word. That's, of course, what this group is all about. Getting back into God's Word so that we can stay grounded in Him and keep our lives centered upon Him. So let's just be encouraged by that. Keep up with your daily reading. Thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. God bless.